Hi everybody, I'm here with Frodo for damage control, because real life can just throw so many things at you that you don't get the time to do the grooming the way you expect to, and then you have to figure out how you're going to get it done anyway. Two things going on here for Mr. Frodo. You can see he hasn't been stripped for quite a while. He's got a long coat. But part of how it got that way was because I got some new health challenge and my joints are swollen and they're a little better today, but I got them wrapped up, as you can see. So I haven't been able to do as much grooming on my dogs as I normally would, and little by little they're getting longer and longer, right? The thing with Frodo is, Buddy's 12. This is a nice old guy. He has been stripped for a long time. He's earned some consideration about when to stop stripping him. His coat is so hard and easy to strip that he's by far the oldest dog that I have still regularly stripped of my own. But there comes a point where you ask the question, is it time to stop stripping? And how do you make that decision? Well, every dog that I've done hand stripping on has eventually given me the look. I get the stripping tools out and I start working and I just get the look of, oh, really? Okay, I love you. We can do it, but are you sure we really have to? And when I see that look, I know, well, we're done. Frodo hasn't given me that look yet. So I could continue perhaps to strip him. So how do I make the decision? Well, we're coming up on winter. So if I clippered him now, he'd lose all this weatherproofing. He'd be down to the coat near the skin when it's grown out long like this. It's very soft and fine down at the base, and he wouldn't have his weatherproofing for the winter, and that would make life harder for him. His quality of life would go down. So I think in his case, I might rake it a little bit, especially his headpiece is out of control. So I'll probably still strip that down so it looks neat, do his maintenance clipper work, so that even if somebody isn't sure what the grooming I'm doing is, they can tell it's been done recently. And, there's that. I might rake it just maybe to get a little bit more growing back in. So when I do clipper it, maybe it's not all down to the skin, but dude's 12. So I'm probably not going to make him put up with too much. Now, if this was a question I was asking myself in the spring, say this was March or April, well, this long coat, dude being old. If this was spring and we were coming up on the warm months, I'd make a different decision here. I would clipper him. For the exact opposite reason, all this coat would make him uncomfortable in the summer, and there's no benefit to him to keeping it. So some of how you make that decision about when to clipper is based on age, based on their tolerance. If they're still okay with you doing it, raking, maybe pulling, there's no harm in continuing. But if you start to get the look, or something happens in your real life and you say, well, I no longer have the capacity to strip as many dogs as I was before, I need to start retiring some coats, well, that's a time to do it. And then think about your seasonality. Think about what the weather's going to be like for your friend, and whether they benefit from hanging on to this coat for one more season, or if they're better off with it off. And I'll also tell you, it's always hard to put the clippers in a coat that you have stripped for years and years. There's no getting past that. Sometimes it's hard to even start. You can't bring yourself to put the clippers into the coat. So there's a couple things you can do to commit. Either just take them and then touch them to the hair and then put them away and come back later, you'll have damaged the coat enough, they'll make it inevitable, you'll have to come back and clipper them, but maybe you don't have to handle the emotions of it all at one time. I don't know about you, but the dog show career comes back to me when I clipper them, all the times I stripped the coat, for all the things that it meant, for all the things that we did together. So it can be hard. The other thing you can do, you know, if you just need to commit, take a pair of scissors, lift some of this hair up. Again, just damage the coat enough to make it inevitable that you'll come back and do the clipper work and not agonize over it anymore. And if you really can't get started, ask a friend. They'll make that first cut for you so that so you don't have to take that emotional hurdle unless you're ready for it. But man, 12 years. 12 years together working on this coat. It's a lot to let go of.